What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? This is your boy Bankfo B of the Lassiter Factor, and I am back with my monthly deep dive with Spider-Man in cinema, leading up to Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this month, I am talking about Captain America: Civil War, which was the debut of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And even though we're still a few months from when it technically came out 10 years ago, it is still 10 years from when this movie came out. 2016, it's 2026, and it is also my favorite MCU movie of all time. Yeah, that's right. Captain America Civil War is my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie of all time, and I will explain why. Now, Captain America Civil War is a loose adaptation of an event that happened in the comics called Civil War, in which all the superheroes had to register themselves and give their identities up, and if they didn't, then there would be consequences. Some people were for this, and some people were against this. Iron Man was on the side of signing, and then Captain America was on the side of not signing. But in the movie, it's completely different because pretty much every superhero in this universe has their identity revealed. Everyone knows Captain America, Steve Rogers. Everybody knows Tony Stark, Iron Man. You get the picture. So in the movies, the governments in the world are getting fed up because even though the Avengers have saved the world multiple times, they are getting fed up with the damage that they leave behind, like people getting killed doing battles in New York, Sokovia. So they come up with the Sokovia Accords, in which the Avengers will no longer operate independently. They must be told from the governments of the world if there's a crisis. They will be told from them whether or not they want them to go or not. Tony Stark, feeling guilty for all the Ultron stuff, wants to sign, but Captain America, after what he went through in his second movie, Captain America the Winter Soldier, is not for the Accords. And while all this is going on, Steve Rogers' friend Bucky, who was the Winter Soldier, resurfaces, and people are looking for him, and Captain America is doing his best to protect his friend. And that already amplifies what's going on with the Sokovia Accords, and then heroes take sides and big fight. Now, I saw this twice in the theaters 10 years ago. I absolutely love this movie. Now, granted, a lot of people like to say that this is just Avengers 2.5, and in truth, they're not wrong, but at the same time, I still feel like this still works as a Captain America movie, and Captain America is still in the forefront of this movie, and all the Accord stuff is just secondary to what's happening. But this is my favorite MCU movie for a lot of reasons. I just love the moral argument that this movie puts me on because while I lean more towards Captain America, yeah, that's right, I'm Team Cap. But at the same time, I can also see where Tony's coming from because he feels guilt for half of the stuff that has happened within this universe. But let's be honest, most of that stuff all happened because of Tony Stark. But I also understand where Captain America's coming from, and even says in the movie because after he went through all the Hydra stuff, he says he thought he summed it up so perfectly. Like, governments are ran with people with agendas, and those agendas tend to change. What if they send us somewhere we don't want to go? What if there's somewhere we need to go and they don't send us? And the reason I bring up Hydra because you also got to think of this from Steve Rogers' perspective because he thought he was doing good in the world under Shield, but then come to find out that Shield has been under the influence of Hydra the whole time, and basically used. And so, what did the governments on the world, with them having control over the Avengers, use the Avengers to flick their will? Plus, I just love the journey this movie takes me on. Like, first we start off with Bucky in the past, and then we go to the present, in which the second string of Avengers they're out there kicking ass, and then the Accords happen, and then Bucky resurfaces, and then of course that amplifies what's going on between Steve and Bucky, and then they come to find out that there's a nefarious plot, possible nefarious plot going on, and that leads to the airport fight, and then the final fight. I'll get to all that in a bit, but I just love how this movie pretty much just took me from point A to point B to point B, C to point D. But I gotta talk about some of the characters, like Zemo, who I've always said is top 5 MCU villains for me. Because Zemo, to me, he did what some of the villains in this universe have never done. Not even what Killmonger done, not even what Thanos has done. Is he was able to single-handedly divide the Avengers. Now, granted, the Accords kind of did that first, but Zemo just came in and pretty much just laid a stick and just. And I love that they brought this character back on Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it just builds off of what was established for this character here in rewatching Falcon and the Winter Soldier last year and then going back to his character at this stage in the universe. Now, watching this movie was a bit bittersweet because you have William Hurt returning as Thunderbolt Ross, who is now being played by Harrison Ford in Captain America: Brave New World because William Hurt passed away a few years ago, and so it was just kind of whiplash to see him played by a character in a more recent movie, and then go back to see him played by a totally different character, played by an actor who's no longer with us. And even watching this 10 years ago, I did love how, oh, we're finally addressing the Incredible Hulk. But I gotta talk about the three standout characters of this movie, starting with King T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, or at this stage in the universe, he is just Prince T'Challa, because his father, King T'Chaka, gets killed by Zemo, but is framed by Bucky. Bucky framed by Zemo, I'm sorry. But for me, it was especially bittersweet to watch Chadwick Boseman in this movie because this was his first appearance as this character. And from what I read back in 2016 when this movie came out was when he was diagnosed with colon cancer. So it was just, rest in peace. But he had such a hell of an intro in this movie right here. To me, this was truly his origin story, from basically being so hell-bent on getting revenge for his father being killed, and he almost killed Bucky, and when he's about to kill Zemo, I just love those words when he says, "Vengeance has consumed you. It's consuming them. I'm done letting it consume me." But of course, I gotta talk about Spider-Man, which is the whole reason why I'm rewatching this movie. And like I said, he is now played by Tom Holland. After the fiasco that was the Amazing Spider-Man movies, they recast the character again, and this time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And just like Black Panther, he also had an awesome introduction, complete with a young, hot Aunt May played by Marissa Tomei. I mean, yeah, even at the time, it was a little bizarre that they kind of aged down Marissa Tomei. I mean, Aunt May. But hey, I ain't complaining. Now, I do gotta address the action and what the Russo brothers did with the action in The Winter Soldier. I feel like they really found their stride with this movie. And of course, I gotta talk about the two memorable set pieces, like the airport scene in which all the heroes are finding each other. And of course, Spider-Man being a part of that. I just remember Spider-Man interacting with all these characters. I had a tear of joy. I'm telling you, watching that scene in the theater for the first time, I was smiling like a damn doofus. Oh yeah, Ant-Man becomes Giant Man, which, like I said, is the third MVP of this movie. But even the airport scene is not even my favorite action scene of the movie. It's at the very end with the fight between Captain America, Iron Man, and Bucky. And it's when Iron Man, he pretty much finds out that Bucky was the one that killed his parents. And just the amount of character work that was done to lead up to that point, I just remember watching that in the theater and just blown away. Like, to me, that is a plot twist right there. But long story short, nobody makes up, and the Avengers are divided. Captain America, he is now a fugitive along with Falcon, Wanda, Bucky, who is now in Wakanda and under ice until they can figure out how to get all the Winter Soldier stuff out of his head. And everybody that was on Team Iron Man, except for Black Panther, is basically now left alone, and Black Widow is now on the run. To me, I just love this movie because of the same reason I love The Empire Strikes Back as my favorite Star Wars movie. It's the movie where pretty much no one wins. It ends on a sour note. A lot of people like to argue like there weren't really no stakes. Like, everybody still made up at the end. I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, that really irks me. I'm sorry. Of all the things they went through in this movie, nobody is the same. Even though nobody died, nobody is the same at the end of this movie. And there are definitely repercussions because of that spread throughout all of Phase 3. Like, there is no real Avengers. They lost to Thanos. To me, this was the true second Avengers film because it left the heroes in a dark place that have repercussions for movies to come, and that is why Captain America Civil War is my favorite MCU movie of all time. And it absolutely gets the hands up emoji because it is a masterpiece. Thank y'all so much for watching. This was a little longer than I expected, but hey, I just love this movie. But what do you think of Captain America Civil War 10 years later? Do you love it? Do you kind of dislike it a little bit? And what's your favorite MCU movie? Let me know in the comments section below. This is your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands. Peace.